what's unthinkable is that the political power is working with the violent gangs. They're together.
What's the benefit though? What are they getting?
What are they getting?
But because back in the days, if you look at the Italian mob, right, what they did, they had them bought. So they paid them off, and it was a model. Hey, we have this many cops, this many judges, this many this many that. This doesn't seem like that's that because they're not making that kind of money.
Oh, no, this is a mafia as well. The Islamic community is a mafia, total mafia.
So do they have the judges and the cops and all those guys bought?
Well,
because they're paying them off.
Episode 1 of the Rape of Britain that we produced, we track down, we get witnesses and testimonies. So this girl's been raped, and this girl's Nicole, very brave young girl. She's been raped at the age of 13. She gets pregnant. They get DNA from the fetus of the baby. Yeah, they get the DNA. So we have all the paperwork. 100% DNA match on the Pakistani rapist who drives a Lamborghini, who's age 23 or 24. Yeah, so they get the DNA match. No further action. There was the police, no further action. Okay. Now this girl's dad at the time worked in the restaurant of one of the gangs because they're all coordinated. Yeah, he used to work there. Now we had 2 different witnesses who witnessed the chief inspector, police officer, in the restaurant with the gangs. It's the head police officer because it works as a mafia. They're making so much money. You know, they control the drugs, the violence in every town and city is controlled by the Muslim community in the UK now. They are the mafia. They control everything. And whoever controls the drugs controls the towns, controls the streets. Whoever controls the streets controls the towns. They have that much.
What kind of money are they making?
Insane money.
Give me an example.
Millions.
That's not a lot though. Like, are they, because to own judges,
I won't say they own judges, to own police officers, yeah? So they own police officers, which we show. So I go...
police officers, to be able, so for me, to be able to get away with this, you have to either bribe, where you have intel on them, which they don't. That's not their business model. You have to buy local small judges and, cops and senators and Congress and buy them out, which they're not making that kind of money to be able to do that. You have to be feared because they could come to you, but fearing them to do what to you?
They don't have to pay.
I'm trying to really find out, like, why?
Political power. They don't have to pay.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe let me ask a different question. So Elon Musk said something about Starmer, right? He tweets something about him. I pulled up right now, prime ministers in UK from 2005 to 2025. Tony Blair, you got Gordon Brown, Labour Party, Labour, Cameron, Conservative, Theresa May, Conservative, Boris Johnson, Conservative, Liz Truss, Conservative, Rishi Sunak, Conservative, and then Keir Starmer, Conservative, Labour. Yeah. You mean David, Theresa, Boris, Liz, and Rishi? While this is going on, they knew about it and they didn't do anything about it?
All of them knew about it. Well, so, remember, they were responsible for open border mass immigration. The reason being, open border mass immigration, the problems I'm talking about are the problems that come from that. Now, if you were allowed to really look at it, then whose failure is it? Why are these girls getting raped? It comes down to their political failure, their decisions to allow mass immigration into our towns and cities. So that's why they must cover it up. Because if it's not covered up, all these problems that I talk about, all the problems I've seen, all these rapes, all the gangs, all the terrorism, all the jihad, all of that, they've imported. And that is their failure. So if you're allowed to look at it and investigate it and question it, then you're going to start looking at them. And then the public are going to look at them and say, you did this. You did this. And every one of them have risen to the top with dirty hands.
Okay, fair. So royal family, who has more power, prime minister or the royal family? You think the royal family is going to allow, we're Americans, right? So we're on a completely different place here. But when we think about your politics, can't the royal family sit there and say, what are we doing? The rich history that we have, are we going to sit here be okay with this happening to us?
Okay, so look at a case in Manchester. Case in Manchester, young girl, what's her name, Victoria? Young girl, 15, drugged with heroin by a 55-year-old Muslim man, raped. When she was killed, that launched a police investigation. They made, I think, 100 arrests. When they made these arrests, there was the police officer in charge. I'm speaking from memory here, but I've done this before. So there's a police officer in charge. They make 100 arrests. They arrest them. They give them their court date, their pending court cases, and then the Crown Prosecution Service collapse. Gone. Everything's gone. Remember, this is when they're still covering up, yeah? So the police were forced into doing an investigation because a young girl had died. Then they uncover all of these rape gangs and they start looking at them. Victoria, so it was Victoria. Rape arrest as part of new grooming. Oh, so now they're making arrests in 2020, yeah? But she wasn't killed in 2020. Get out when she was killed. Now, when she was killed, 2003. So remember, this is when we're still in big cover-up mode. Yeah. So they make loads of arrests in this case. They then they find the gang. They find that all the ones, hundreds of them, are operating, just raping young kids, torturing them. They make arrests. They get them all ready for court. They collapse the entire trial. The lead police officer who collapsed that trial won the highest recommendation 6 months later from our royal family. The level of cover-up.
6 months later from royal family?
From the royal family, he won the biggest award you can get, like, for his work. Yeah, he won the reward for covering this up. Because what you have to understand is, they were so fearful of this coming out, and they always say they were fearful of race riots, fearful of race tensions, because you can't allow the public to realise that literally members of the Islamic community are raping their way through our nation. And that is all to do with open border mass immigration. Say like the Democrats now, they're opening up. Many problems in American cities are going to come from the problems that have come from the men who they've imported and allowed in. So what do they want to do? They just hide it. And this was a mass cover-up for... Up until the formation of the English Defence League, they had successfully hid this for 30 to 40 years. So you can imagine the level of animosity and frustration they have with me. So that's why, and every arrest in the first 6 months was done to intimidate, scare, and silence. It didn't work. We're now fast forward. I'm arrested again on rape gangs. I've just been put in prison again. I've just come out. We're 10 days in. I was released from prison 10 days ago. I spent the last 7 months on solitary confinement for showing the public the truth. And what was that truth about? That truth, I have to be careful what I say here because I'll go straight back to jail. I'm currently under another gagging order where I was only released. I would have spent the rest of my life in prison for this film. I made a film. I'm a journalist. I made a film and they sentenced me to 18 months in prison for that film. Now, what did that film expose? That film exposed the problems from a refugee that was imported in. If people were allowed to understand the truth of what had happened in that area, they'd be looking at the government, because the public didn't want Syrian refugees brought into Great Britain, but the government, during the height of the ISIS chaos that was going on in Syria, brought in 20,000, the conservative government brought in 20,000, and the problems I spoke about in this film were to do with one refugee. What about the rest? And they'd hid it. They hid this entire story. I would go into detail on this. I'm simply not allowed to. I will go straight back to jail and face 2 years if I sit and give you any details about what went on. I made a film that became the most watched film in British history, 167 million views.
Silenced?
Silence. I made that film.
This was the Syria case where the kid watched the video, had a broken hand, the other guy comes and hits him, and you claim...
I have to be careful. I wouldn't make that. Even me having that discussion where you make the claim now, they'll probably bang me straight up in jail.
Why though?
I'm under an order. For me, so I made a film. They take me to court. I make a film. Remember that court lawfare is used, and it's been used against me for 15 years. It's not just used against me. It's used against anyone who whistleblowers or speaks out. For example, you know what you saw with Russiagate? You saw the situation with Russiagate. Now, many in the UK still won't understand what happened with Russiagate. Russiagate, where the FBI feeds sources of information to the national media. The national media run those stories, which are bullshit. They run those stories. Then when they wanted to get a warrant off of a judge in order to put surveillance on the opposition, which was Donald Trump, they produce their evidence and they also say, look, there's these national media stories. Well, those national media stories come from the FBI giving them the information. Now, in that case there with Russiagate, they used Christopher Steele, an MI6 agent from the UK, who made this up. Yes, they use a legitimate source as an MI6 agent. That same MI6 agent is the one they still use against me. So the media create the stories of news to attack people. It's like the weapon. We live in a totalitarian state in Great Britain. I don't think any Americans really understand, well, I hope you do understand, that you are the only place left in the world that has free speech. You are the only place. But the American establishment now, under Donald Trump, they know lawfare because they saw it with Russiagate. They know how coordinated the FBI worked with the media. They all combined together in order to attack. That's happened to me. Now, Donald Trump is a billionaire and he had a massive platform to highlight this. I've been fighting this as a working class kid from Luton Town. And I've managed to build my own platform. And even through the censorship, remember, they censored me to a level where if you mention my name on Facebook, they delete your account. I was up there with mass Mass terrorists and killers, my name. I've never been convicted or tried for anything to do with hate crime. I've never even had an arrest for anything to do with it. Nothing I say is hateful, it's facts. Now, unfortunately for them, the facts spell out the problems that they've imported into our country.
Whether you agree with Tommy or not, guess what? You can now get a hold of him on Connect. He will respond back on Connect. You can simply download the app. He's officially on there. Ask him any question. You agree with him. You don't agree with him. An article, something you saw, but now you can get direct contact with Tommy Robinson on Connect.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.